always a joy to be with you on this show, Conversations, where we talk and we walk our talk. My name is Elizabeth, and now I want to ask you, what is success for you? I know that while you're asking for the definition and thinking about it, success is one thing that everyone desires. But a lot of times, the pathway to it, it's a bit misunderstood. But is it difficult? I don't know. Is it misunderstood? Perhaps. Can it be possible? Is it doable? Definitely. That's our focus today, because success is a definition that you need to hear from my fellow discussant today. And then, of course, we'll be preferring ways of ensuring that your success is well determined, and of course, your self-actualization is also on the table, laid out for your own success. I told you it's conversation, and the show is one that you would love to have. But let me get to introduce my guests. Do I introduce them? No, introduce yourself.
Thank you, Queen Liz. It's always a pleasure. You look beautiful as always. Thank you for having me.
Okay.
My name is Jennifer Serrano. I'm the founder of the Unity Project Nigeria, amongst many other things.
Okay, and
my name is Kelechi Kesley. I'm a lawyer and a leadership consultant. It's indeed my pleasure to be here, Lizzie.
And Kelechi, I know we had this discussion slightly, behind camera. You were all fired up for it. And I keep wondering why. What do you see in the young ones that, sets that spirit for you running?
Yeah, I think the young people these days are not taking responsibility. They think that someone else somewhere is responsible for their failures. And I oppose to that. I believe that we are 100% responsible for our individual success. Yeah, so I'm so passionate about it, because if I reflect to my growing up, school days and all that, and who I've become today, I know it's all my personal effort. And I know that if you have put in your best, nothing resists you, because no government stops you from being paid when you do job. And if you're competent, people will look for you.
We'll just go to my group of young people and get to find out what success means to them. What is your definition? Ehi, I think I'll let you and Kike to redefine that conversation and roll back to us.
As earlier established, I am here with young people to tell us their definition of success. I mean, a popular rapper known as Jay-Z once said that if you can afford to buy something that you want 3 times, then you're successful. Now, to these young people, what does success mean to them? They'll introduce themselves, after which they'll tell us their definition of success.
Hi everyone, my name is Olushola Femi.
Next.
Hello everyone, I am Ngozi Ogwepwe.
Hello everyone, my name is Victor Ibuno.
Okay, now starting with Victor, what does success mean to you?
Well, success to me, I'll define it based on individual path. Define their success based on marital growth. Some people are jobs, like getting like a very good high-paying jobs. Some people business establishments and on like that. But for myself, I think securing a well-paying job is my own success.
Well, Angie, what does success mean to you?
Well, personally, to me, success is financial stability and freedom. You see, when you are able to pay your bills, support yourself, and choose your path, you can only do that when you are financially stable.
To me, success means being able to provide for people. I feel like if you are successful and you can't create opportunity for people, you can't give people opportunity, to showcase themselves or help them, fulfill their dreams. I feel like you are not successful. So my own definition of success is, being a blessing to others, being a hand of help to others. So that's just my definition of success.
Okay, like all of us. We've gone from Femi, who success means being charitable, giving back to the society. We've gone to you that if you're financially stable, if you're in Gen Z terms, liquid, you're successful.
Exactly.
We've gone to Basenge where it's still liquidity. Having a high-paying job is successful. Now, do any of you think that all this definition of success has to do with seasons? Because if tomorrow you have a high-paying job that pays you in like 6 figures, would your level of success be achieved, or would you be aiming more for another kind of success? If you now have that financial stability engine, what is the next step? Would you no longer be successful?
Okay.
If you can now give back to the society, you're doing that yearly. Like, if you've been doing that maybe for 20 years because you've been that successful, what would be the next step?
All right. I think, again, success is personal growth.
Yeah, growth, emphasis on growth.
Personal growth is growth. Being able to choose your path. Being able to be who you are, what you want to be when you want to be that. And your success meter, if I may say so, keeps shooting up. It keeps shooting up.
I like
But
that.
does any level of success exceed giving back to the world?
But it's different though. Like, out of all of us here, you want to mention giving back to
But
society.
that's what I'm saying. You said, what's the next level after that? I don't think there's any level of success that exceeds giving back to the world. Like, that's like the highest level. Do you understand?
But that's for you though.
That
is
is
for
when
you.
that is actually when you have attained a certain success for yourself.
But that
You
is still for
cannot
him.
give to me when you don't have.
But you can.
I mean, I
No,
can.
you
those
give
Mother
at your
Teresa.
level.
Wow.
You give at your level. You give at your level.
still
Nobody
giving.
pours from an empty cup.
But I can decide. I can make it today. There was one popular girl that blew up during COVID 2020. Elsa, the girl that sprays whatever.
Yes.
I should say, if I have money, it's different. If I have money, I'm telling you now, it will change me.
Exactly.
This me you know now, it's not the me you will meet.
That's right.
It's like that girl, like when she was doing all those her skits and whatnot, if she becomes successful, she was not talking about I will give the less privileged. Now, from what all we've said, it boils down to success is individual.
Yes, it is.
What is successful to you is not what is successful to me.
Yeah.
What is successful to your high-paying job is not what I may consider success to me.
Yeah.
That's right.
What you consider your own success, giving back, might not be what is successful to me.
Yeah.
Exactly.
One thing is NG's definition of self-growth.
Yeah.
Like for each of us, self-growth is successful. So I'll end this by saying, I hope we all find success in what we want. I hope we're all successful.
I pray with you.
And I always say this, that when I become successful, I do not want first world problems. And I don't want third world problems.
Okay.
I want second world problems. First world problems is like the bigger Western country where now they are fighting for control, they are attacking each other and fighting war.
Yes.
Third world problems could be what we are living in.
sickness, yeah.
I want second world problems where I have money. I don't have disease, I have a healthy life. I'm just moving and
Living
living for
life is also something that is actually successful.
Successful.
Yeah. So people want to live like perfectly fine.
I don't
wake
want
up.
I don't want
eat.
6 figures. I don't want enough money. I don't want to necessarily be Mother Teresa. I just want to move low key in
Be able
life.
to buy Christmas clothes.
I think
To be able to buy Christmas clothes. Why are you so
Add one
sensitive?
more head.
Success, that's what I feel successful to me. But each of us all have very valid points. So thank you very much for sharing your ideas on success with us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Success to me is the ability to do whatever I want, whenever I want, without having to worry about money.
Back to the studio.
At what point do we say, okay, I am successful? What is the meaning of success?
I think success is personally defined. So a person must, first of all, know what it is that they're about. Where are you going? What do you want to achieve? Until that, you cannot say you're successful. I recall I went to buy food in a particular place. It's just a small place. And the person had this air of importance about them. And I thought to myself, this person at max, maybe they turn over 100,000 naira every day. And that person feels they have arrived because that's why they had that kind of attitude like, oh, we don't need the customers. But you go into some, national chain and you see the CEO, the MD, so passionate about customer care, and this is an organization turning up maybe 100 million every month. And so you see the difference. So that person is happy with their 100,000 and they're being a local champion, but the other person wants more. So success is personally defined. So it has to do with awareness of self. Some people, success is, I'm married, I have 2.4 children, I have that was the average statistics. They say 2.4 children. I don't even know what that means. Because you can't have 2.4 children. I have a house, I'm paying a mortgage, I have a garden, and I have a dog. For some people, that's success. For some people, they want to own 5 private jets, 20 yachts, prime real estate in every nation of the world. For some people, that's success. For someone else, it's, I was able to write a book. That's success. Oh, I'm a teacher and I helped 20 children with special needs accomplish their dreams. So success is personally defined. Okay. So it has to do with a sense of self-awareness. Okay. Who are you? What do you want to be?
As you talk, it still boiled back to what's been going on in my mind, that it is personal. Absolutely. It is personal. So there is a strong sense in what you have muted to me severally about awareness. How do we, because a lot of times people who feel that they are not successful, especially the very young people, you ask him, why are you not this way? Why are you not that way? They're going to give you liturgy of or a litany of reasons. A lot of times it's laid on the doors of the government. How is that okay? I mean, are you in charge? Are we really in charge of ourselves?
Absolutely. Whether we accept it or not, that's the truth. But I would say that success is actually a journey. When you get to this place, you get into another thing. So self-awareness is something that everyone needs to be aware. I mean, you look at it that when you're self-aware, you're able to know your strengths, your weaknesses, you're able to know your triggers, you're able to know your emotions, you're able to know your, we have a SWOT analysis. That's your strengths, your weakness, your opportunities, and the threats. Now, if you are self-aware, you will know the things you're capable of doing, and you will know the areas you need to develop yourself. The fact that you're weak in a particular area is not the final thing. What it's telling you is that this area, I need to work hard in this area, to help myself. So you take 100% responsibility of yourself. When you are self-aware, you will know the areas, what to do to effect change. But when you are not taking responsibility and you're shifting, there is something that happened recently. In fact, January this year, my son took a car out and had accidents.
Oh, wow.
And when I came there, I noticed that he wanted to do a U-turn and he didn't look. And this thing happened, it was more like a near fatal thing. So I was so angry with him. During the evening home cell, I just thank God for delivering him from that accident. Later that night, he came to me, "Mommy, are you not taking responsibility for the accident?" What? He said, "You gave me a car that had issues." So
okay, he had accidents, but he's
So you find out that okay, if the car had issues, that is more reason why you should have checked.
Be more careful.
So you find out that his ears were blocked, and the trailer carrying sand was on it, and he didn't hear. And even as I speak to you, he still have not taken responsibility. So when he came back, I started by the driver dropping him off to work. After a while, to save fuel, I gave him the car to take to work. After a while, I took the car away, took the driver away, and told him he has to find his way to the office. So what am I trying to do? I'm trying to make him understand and appreciate that these things were worked for. I am 10 years in widowhood.
Oh,
if
wow.
I am not hardworking, they won't have the life they have today. So you have no
Even
reason.
if their father left billions.
Yes, if you have no
mismanage
reason
it.
whatsoever not to work hard. If you're proud of me, I also look forward to being proud of you.
Sure.
So that's it. Taking 100% responsibility is very essential to sensitize people, both men, women, children, young adults. We must take 100% responsibility. And if you have not taken it, you will always find Mr. A, Mr. B, Mr. C, but not you, who is responsible for what is happening to you.
You know, when we were growing up, my parents, we used to have this talk about Mr. Nobody. I don't know if anybody had it. Who did this, Mr. Nobody?
Nobody.
You know, and I still remember my second daughter, she had a bottle of Coke in her hand, and it broke, really. I said, go and keep this. And it broke. And I was angry. I said, why did you break the bottle? She said, I didn't break it. I saw you holding it, and I saw it break. She said, I didn't break it. So I felt I was mental. So, because I saw it. It didn't happen at my back. So when I interrogated, she was like 6 years. She said, no, the bottle didn't want to stay in my hand. So it fell and broke. You know, I
6 years.
I knew I had to work on that to
That's
change.
cute.
Because the truth is, she felt when you're, you know, when you're responsible means that you took the bottle and probably jammed it on the wall.
Exactly.
So, as long as it fell off your hand, you didn't break it. So it's not intentional. So the same way probably your son felt, he hit the car, got into an accident. It wasn't an intentional, so it's not his responsibility. But I think that there is need for us to continue to tell ourselves the truth. Like you said, it's a conscious effort. Our parents need to come in. People like you who are dealing with young people need to come in and constantly coach. I know that your Unity project, you have a program coming up soon.
Yes. So we hold the Unity Festival every year, and this will be our 6th year. December 13th, Millennium Park, Abuja, is a free entry event. So upon my return to Nigeria, I find this huge lacuna. How you rightly said, most young people blame other people for their failures. They blame other people for their inabilities. And they forget the part that success has no country. Success has no limitation. Success has no color. Success is an individual endeavor.
Sure.
And
Your effort.
when people are busy complaining and pointing fingers, it's actually an admittance in hopelessness, helplessness, that we can't do anything else but complain. But I'd like to say this, it's not just the young people. You could sit with some people that are 60. I've met various people, and you sit with some people that are 60 and they say, oh, Nigeria is this.
Nigeria has happened to
is
you.
that."
Nigeria has happened to you.
Yeah, and I even met people that were public office holders. I remember I sat with somebody who was an ambassador. I think he was about 20, he said he was like 30 years an ambassador, in different countries, and he came back to blame the government. And I asked him, I said, sir, when you were ambassador of this country and that country, how did you impact the life of Nigerians? The man looked at me as if I was his enemy, because I was trying to make him see that you also failed. You're part of the people that failed Nigeria. So in the educationing of our people, there has been that conscious, I think, deliberate conditioning that you are helpless. When you go to school, what do they tell you? That if you go to school, you get a job. So your future, your faith is in someone else's other hand, not yours. Because you're conditioned to go to school just to get a job. But we have a 400 million strong population, arguably. If 400 million people are looking for a job and none of the 400 million are thought to create jobs, what do we have? We have a problem of poverty. We have a problem of unemployment. We have a problem of crime and disorder, which is where we find ourselves, because we are conditioned from when we're little. Oh, and you know, I notice also parents of girl children say this, when I was growing up, they say, wash your clothes well, learn how to cook so that you can go to your husband's house. Yes.
So I'd be a good wife.
They're not teaching you. I said to someone recently, I said, I wish I could have my grandparents back in the room and tell them that you all failed. And I say it critically, and I mean it. I said, I was a young girl and I had dreams. I was probably a bit odd. I wanted to have a PhD, I wanted to travel the world, but they said I had to marry. But nobody said you could buy a land as a young girl. You could be a CEO as a young girl. You could be the one to employ your husband and his entire family. No one said that. They just said, go marry.
That's a good one.
I remember I got married in the middle of my NYSC, and you know, I had challenges in my career. So my journey of success is something that I would say a bit late. It's something that started about 10, 12 years ago, a journey of self-realization. And I say this critically to say the first responsibility comes from the parents or whoever raises you. But the thing is, do they even know? If you come from a family of civil servants, they would only say, go to school, go and become a civil servant. When you stay there, you become a PAMSEC, you get a retirement package.
Benefits.
Yes, they don't.
And we actually make effort to push our children into the system.
They don't teach you that actually you could own the whole place.
You know, a lot of times what you're saying, parents make it look like certain jobs are menial jobs. You know, I always tell people, if I was to do another thing outside what I do, I'll probably go for cleaning, because I am a very exceptional cleaner. When I want to clean, if I clean for you, you're not in a hurry to dirty the place, because it's top notch. You know, so, and I can decide to make that cleaning job, you know, sexy, so to speak. So that people would appreciate and want to join more.
The challenge is that most Nigerians have been conditioned to white-collar jobs, and we don't really appreciate the dignity in labor. I wanted to be a fashion designer, and there was a family conference on my head at 16.
Tailor.
How dare you?
You want to
be a tailor? God forbid. Da, 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 da. I said, okay, I was going to join the Navy. Of course, my grandmother started with it. They will kill you, this, that. So just go to school, go marry, you know, get a job if you must. But, you know, that conditioning of your faith has to depend. So you're raised to be a dependent. That's the problem. So when you see young people who have no sense of direction, you have to ask, who raised them? If they were raised right, there are still some young people who are doing well. I met some young people who are 19, 20, they're already in public offices because they had parents who pushed them to be ambitious. There's young people, even as teenagers, that are doing well in tennis and sports because there are parents that believed in them and pushed them. So if you don't have that right information, that foundation to say, hey, the power is in your hands, is in no one else's but yours, you would always find yourself helpless, hopeless, whining, complaining, frustrated, and directionless.
I think you've put in the parents on the hot seats, but I also want to believe that there's a beat on ourselves, and you know, within ourselves we can harness. You did mention that you may have entered the field late, even though I think it's not late. Anytime is everybody's good morning, you know, but that means you were able to have your self-realization. I know both of you are a coach, but I want to go to Barrister Kelechi. I need to know, what is that pivotal thing? What is that turning point that can make me say, okay, this is who I am? How do I even know? How do I know I have capacity?
You see, like I said earlier, the first thing you do is to know yourself, identify your areas of weaknesses, your areas of strength, and of course the opportunities that are with your strength. You know, she has said, the parents, I have a different experience. I'm the 10th child of my mom and the last.
10th.
Yes.
One woman.
Absolutely, and she's still alive and very fresh and lovely.
He's alive.
Yes.
Wow.
Now,
10 children.
my father told us that he sent us to school so that no man would tell us that we will not eat today. And I grew up with that mindset. Incidentally, my JAMB was seized for 2 years. Within the 2 years, I did a certificate in public administration, a diploma in public administration. And when my JAMB was released, I got into sociology. And later, I used my diploma in public administration to apply for law, evening law, because I wanted to combine the two. I started my business in the university from my first year in law and second year in sociology. I made my first million in law school.
Oh, wow.
And by God's grace, have remained a millionaire, maybe topping up.
That's a good one.
So I've not worked for anybody in my life. I've been self-employed all my life. What changed my mindset are in the bookshelf. Because the category of people I want to talk to, I find them in the bookshelf. I read Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill early in life. Rich Dad, Poor Dad early in life. The Richest Man in Babylon early in life. In fact, when I started my business, at some point when it looked like things were, I traveled out with just one book, Success Principles by Jack Canfield. And I didn't finish a chapter when he told me that I'm 100% responsible for everything that happens in my life. And that was a turning point for me. Accepting that I am 100% responsible changed my life. I asked God, so how did I make the program that I just had to fail? I had a program for the entire country, the 6 geopolitical zones, under then the SGF, the Local Government Service Commission training. So as I sent my letter, the programs flopped. So when I asked, I got inside me, you want to have program for the entire Nigeria, where have you been? You think people will just respond to your training program because of the letter? So when I came back from that journey from South Africa, I went to Katsina. From Katsina to Zamfara, from Zamfara to Sokoto. From Sokoto, I came back to Kaduna. And the next program I had was very successful. The next one, I bought a brand new car. The rest is history. And for me, I look at it that people need to understand that they can. That feeling, that relationship, that mentor, that coach that seems to have what you desire, you need to get closer. And most times, you may not be able to access these people physically. Because even someone hearing me talk that wants to reach me may not be so easy to access me. So what do? You reach out for the books written by these great people and ask yourself, what am I not doing right? In fact, what triggers me most when I read books is to know that the person who is writing this book do not know me. And in fact, he's not even from this country. How come he's just saying exactly the things that are putting me down or that would take me up? I've worked the principles and I can tell you that it works.
If a person has no sense of direction, you cannot even be self-aware because you don't even know that you're not self-aware. So that's not the starting point. There's a general maxim that says necessity is the father of invention. Sometimes hardship, difficult situations provoke you. But what information do you have? I have seen situations where people would say, I'm sure you see all these criminals that are arrested and paraded. They would say, oh, we had this challenge and I needed to do this. There was a woman that sold her baby and she said she was experiencing some financial challenges and she felt that was the way to go because she didn't have any other information. So there has to be the right balance of information and pressure. They say the difference between coal, cubic zirconia, and diamonds is pressure. But pressure comes also with the right information. So I was in a difficult situation, but I had to go and start listening to somebody who could teach me things no one ever did. So I always tell people, when you're confused, when you don't know what to do, thank God for the internet. You don't even have to buy books if you can't afford it. You have a phone. YouTube is there. There are lots of life coaches on there. Look for the one that can help you from where you're coming from. And then some people are damaged. You know, I shared something personal with you. So the journey is totally different. And when a person is battling self-esteem issues, or a person who's had issues of abuse, be it emotional or sexual at a small age, self-awareness is not there. There's a lot of bad, evil layers on top of that person. So that person has to, first of all, break out of all of that, you know, like climbing out of a pit before they can even be aware that they have a self.
You know, both of you, you point me to the same direction in the sense that there is always a figure to help.
Absolutely. Someone has to help you out of it.
It may be the parents, it may be the foundation, it may be just like she said, a book by a motivational writer or something like that. Somehow there is, you know, someone to help you open your eye to the things you're supposed to, and
Absolutely.
you
can't
and
do it
my
by
question
yourself.
again is, there are a lot of times we try to help younger people, and there seems to be this brick wall. They don't want the help. They don't want the help. You know, I was in River State some time ago, and somebody said, a young man, they were given a job by one oil company, and he was asking me, do you have somebody who will give me 200,000? Let me sell this slot. And I'm like, what are you going to do with 200,000? He said, Mama, 200,000. I will buy this. I will buy. He was talking with Gin and Lime voice, and I was really shocked. You know, I did my very best to convince this young man that going to work will make you a better person. You earn more than the 200, and you will achieve more. Well, the truth is, when I checked back, you know, months later, he still sold that thing out and took the 200,000. So how do we begin to break, you know, to break that wall, to help the young people, you know, listen? Even the aged, you did mention, you know, some of us who are as old as Methuselah, we're still very, you know, passionate about our old, dogged, you know, ways of doing things are not okay. But how do we begin to reach out to people? Sometimes I want to borrow the wings of Christ and see if I can tell you, yeah, stop, you stop.
Okay, I was just going to say, okay. There's this adage that say, it's only a child that opens their arms that can be carried. For every person who came to a moment of epiphany, you would have had to have a conversation with yourself like, I can't continue like this. I've heard of stories of people who, it was when they were about to commit suicide, and they just said, oh, okay, let me just reach out to one person. So you have to get to that point where you are ready. No one can force you. That's the thing about the human mind. For you to pick up a book, I can bring you books, I can bring you tapes, I can pray for you, I can advise you, I can beg you, I can encourage you. But until you are at that point where nothing else will go, and then you say, okay, all right, that woman has always been sending me messages, let me talk to her. I work with a lot of young people, and I'm proud to say I have helped so many people who were sex workers become upstanding members of society. The second thing about reaching people is, how do you come across? Oftentimes, a lot of people who didn't go through filth to come up are judgmental. You're condescending in your manner of approach. So you can't approach a girl that's a prostitute and tell her, hey, that's not right. And she'll look at you like, what do you know about my life? Some of them, like the ones I met when I was in Switzerland, they will tell you that it was their mother and the extended family that got money for them, and tell them, that person's daughter went to Italy and built a 3-story building, so you too must do it. So it's their father, their mother, the extended family that put money together and send them to prostitution. You can't just come in with your, you went to school, you have a good life, and tell such a person to stop prostitution. No. There is that manner of reaching people where they are. being accessible.
It's like
empathy,
going
walk
down
in
to-
their shoes. That is how they will come to you. So when they now decide they want to change, they will come to you. I had a group of girls when they come to me in Switzerland, about 20 of them. And one of them said, Mama, this work we do, we don't want to do them again. I said, what? I didn't even know they were doing prostitution. I didn't know that. There's a place called Langstrasse in Zurich, was notorious for that. Most Nigerian girls are there. And they said, we did waka now. I said, waka how? We did follow men. We did follow men. So they explained to me. But because first of all, they saw me as somebody they could talk to. They knew that I wasn't going to judge. I didn't come up with all these holy, I'm perfect. I came from a perfect life because I didn't come from one. And I started to tell them, I didn't tell them prostitution was bad. No. I just started to help them to see that they have value. That you are special, you have a talent. I'm sure you do. And they all started to look inside. Some went into nursing, some went into cooking business, hair business. But nobody told them that they had anything beyond their vaginas when they were growing up. They were taught to eat from the vagina. That's all they know. Excuse, I don't know if that word is allowed on NTA. So that's how they were conditioned. So they didn't know until they met me. Okay. They thought that was the only way out. So being approachable, being also able to reach somebody at, that guy is looking at you like, you don't know what it's like for him. You don't know what 200,000 can do for him because of where he was coming from. But maybe if it was a more Gen Z oriented person and you help him, also, how are we going to spend that money? Okay. So you have to help them see from where they're coming from.
What are the other ways I can, even if I'm not radically bad? I'm talking about economical change now. Some of us are in civil service, in my office, in other offices, and we are always complaining about money. We prefer to beg, really. We prefer to ask somebody, can you give me? Can you borrow me? And when we're borrowing, we know fully we're not going to return. Meanwhile, within us, there are several potentials. How do we begin to unravel them and make them impactful?
Yeah, for me, I think that the topic we are discussing today, we should find a way of incorporating it in the schools and in organizations.
Sure.
I had proposed financial education program for organizations, and most times they don't look at it. They prefer pre-retirement training where people do just few months or a year before they go.
Yeah, 1 year, 2 years before you go, they start teaching you retirement package.
Yes, because I've been opportune to train a lot of retirees, and I see them in regrets. So I propose financial education at recruitment, because you can't become what you do not learn about.
Absolutely.
So I'm a lawyer because I went to study law. So financial freedom is not a respecter of any profession. You can be poor as a doctor, you can be poor as a lawyer. It's what you know that will determine how far you go in life. For people who are genuinely rich, genuinely wealthy, if you get closer to them to hear their stories, you realize that they didn't do anything, miracle. Mm-hmm. The point is that they invested right. They knew their seed and they knew their bread. So they sowed their seed and they ate their bread. So you find out that you grow to understand what you're supposed to keep aside and what to do with what you have kept aside and how to multiply what you have kept aside. In fact, to tell you the truth, I think this is the basis why we have so much corruption. Because people lack the knowledge of how to genuinely make money.
Corruption.
I agree.
Okay, better explain this further.
Yeah, what I mean is this. The man who is approaching retirement as a director is afraid of where am I going to lay my head? I've got no house.
Yeah.
So he's at that point apprehensive of what he's going to do. But someone who has good financial education, as a director, he's already looking forward to leaving because he has prepared himself, made his savings, made his investments, developed himself, and in fact, he knows the transition, what he's going to transit to, where he's going to from retirement.
It's a gradual
Do you understand? So he's not under any pressure. He's just looking forward to doing that. And there are quite a number of people that do exactly what I'm just saying. And those people are not under any pressure.
Sure.
But for the young people, we must be intentional about it by making sure that personal development programs are incorporated in the schools, in the universities, even if they are non-credit programs, you understand? Such that it's not something you write exam on, because one will ask, you're studying sociology, what can I do with it at the end of the day? But you see, going to school helps you to develop your brain.
Sure.
You know, just like what Madam Jennifer had said, you know, because I have trained myself to be 100% responsible for everything that happened in my life, I find it extremely difficult to apportion blame to anybody.
So even if I beat you now, you still blame yourself?
I'll find a way. I'll find a way. See, let me come. You see, now, some people are successful. They never knew their mother or their father, yet they are successful. Some people are successful even because they had very bad parenting. A friend of mine told me that the environment where he grew up, they were all poor. So that he was asking himself, why are these people poor? That he noticed that they drink a lot, they do a lot of things, and he grew against it. He said that even his own father drinks, but he won't send him to go and buy the drinks because he sees that himself will frown his face. The person I'm talking about today is a billionaire. He came to this town without anything, sleeping in offices, trying out things, and he is where he is today. So you understand? So when I see people like that, for me as a person, it's not like my father was an entrepreneur and I could go to shop with him, but I'm not the only one. My sisters grew up, my brothers grew up, especially my sisters. You know, they grew up, went to school, lecturers, and I grew up against them. They weren't my role models. I hate poverty from the time I was small. You understand? And I wanted to know, what else can I do? Even in prison, in my job, they give me jobs and I turn it down because I know my worth. I don't accept everything.
You know your value.
I know my value, you understand? So I believe that you have to pay me my worth or nothing.
Well, I agree with that, but let's put a caveat because we're talking to young people. I remember there was a young lady who wanted to be my assistant, and I asked what her skills were. This was somebody who wasn't versed with ICT. She had almost no skills. And I said, what were your salary expectations? And she told me that she was thinking, based on her ChatGPT CV, you know what I mean, our AI-generated CV, she was supposed to earn about 500,000 a month. I said, okay, thank you, I'll be back to you. So you have put in value, that's why you can say that. But there are people who have no value, but they want money, which is the problem of most young people, by the way. Which is also, let's be honest, it's not just young people. This is also the problem of a lot of people who are stuck in jobs based on their level of qualification or the value they contribute, but they need more. That is where I said I agree with you about corruption starts when a person has desires but has no legitimate means of getting it. And money sense is not taught in school. So one of the things I started out with in 2019 at the Unity Project Nigeria was vocational studies from primary school. Look at China today. China, 100 years ago, were dead poor. But China today, you know, they're giving money to different countries, including ours. How? Because they stopped being a consumer economy. They stopped From a young age, everybody, every local government, every house must contribute, create, produce, generate wealth. But here we're taught to be consumers. We're taught to look for a job. We're taught to, you know, even the religious orders also help us to expect miracle money. Don't work for it, it'll just come. So all of that conditioning of laziness, of just, are the ones that tell you sow your seed in church, God will just bring money back. I told a young lady, I said, how much do you earn? She said she earns about 70,000 in her work. And she's holding a phone of 1.5 million. I said, and you will tell me that you are broke. Your hair and your phone is what should set you in business. You have started eating your future. How much do you have in your account that you're buying hair of 2 million? You're buying phone of 1.5. What are you earning? Show me.
Told me that a woman can never really be a millionaire.
I've heard people say that to me. They tell you that you cannot achieve anything except a man helps you. I said that's a very limiting self-beliefs, because they're not conditioned to feel they have power. Same thing the person who steals. Same thing the person who's begging. You know, I remember somebody did a video. A white girl said she came to Nigeria and she recorded the police officers and immigration and customs and everybody begging, and said there's a culture of beggars in Nigeria. I was ashamed. Why? It's because all this people, they are in jobs where they are not, I'm not judging anybody, but I'm saying they're not adding enough value to themselves. You can have a job, but you must always have a side business. You should always have more than 2, 3, 4 streams of income, and there's dignity in labor. I remember there was a time I had a fashion business, and I was also doing contracting, and things were not going. So when I thought, okay, well, I need another income, so I decided to start a food business. And one of my neighbors drove past, and I remember what the man said to me. He said, fine girl like you, you're selling food. And I said, sir, fine girl like me, would you rather I was prostituting? And he was ashamed that he drove past. So this is how they're conditioned. I had someone say to me, why don't you go and sell bags and shoes instead of going around with this unity something you are doing, you're wasting time. And I thought, that's also a consumerist mentality.
My director is on my mind, but I'd like to have your final thoughts on, I need you to speak to the youths, because I need you to talk to them about, how can we be very focused? Because you did mention something that happened to you 10 years ago. You got widowed. You were pretty young, but you didn't give up. A lot of us will go into begging. So based on what you were able to do for yourself, I need you to speak to the youths. Young women especially.
Okay. First of all, I would say that self-leadership is something we need to cultivate. You are the leader of your own self. I tell people that leadership is something that all of us, we are in. Number one person you lead is yourself. You are your project. You are a project yourself, and you are the leader of that project. And like we have said, we become who we want to be through the things we do. I want to encourage the young people to know that they are unstoppable, and the only one that can stop them is themselves. No, your future is not trusted in the hand of your father or your mother or your friend or the government. If you have what it takes, you'll be properly patronized. Just like you mentioned, I started my business from the university days, and I've remained in the business.
What did you do that period? You made hair, or you
No. I was selling clothes and menswears.
Oh, okay.
Menswears, I was selling clothes. I'll go to Abuja, cut the materials, sew them, and I was selling. Yes. So there is always something one can do. You can start. And some people will say they are looking for money. You can start business without any money. Money is not the desire, the dream. These are the things you need. The desire of what you want. Because if you have a desire, if your thought is full of what you want to do, there's a magnet that comes with that thought that magnets the help you need. It's real.
Okay. So once you project, the magnet attracts you. But before we go, I know that you said 13th is the day.
Yes, December 13th.
So how do I walk in? You said it's free, right?
It's a free entry event. However, you have to rep your tribe. So
okay,
your
I need
ethnic
to dress
group. Yes,
way.
you
Okay.
either have to wear green and white, or you wear your traditional attire.
Okay.
We are bringing
There's no
back
jeans.
No pride in the Nigerian culture. If you're not wearing African prints, Nigerian prints, or your ethnic group, sorry, you won't be allowed in, because we have to take pride.
What do we
in
expect
who we
to
are.
learn from that?
Okay, so at the Unity Festival, there is a cultural education. I believe in the importance of knowing where you're coming from, know about your people, know about the rich heritage of Nigerians, where we were coming from, not maybe the shadow of who we have sort of become now, but we were kings and we're royalty. So we showcase that in as many ethnic groups as possible. I think we have about 40 ethnic showcase. Nigeria has over 400, but 40 is it's a tight representation. We also bring some government organizations into the play to support young talent, because we have a fashion show, we have a fashion competition, cooking competition, SMEs, we have a unity pageant. So we're bringing the opportunities to you. So that's why you should come. It's not just a party. It's a party that could potentially change your life. We have partnerships with SMED and NEPC. So these are organizations that can help you as a young person. ITF has supported us in the past, so we get our list of persons who need skills, and then they take them on. Because most young people don't even know there's such a thing as ITF.
Honestly.
They don't know that there's we're also working something out with the Ministry of Youth, because there's Youth Fund. This administration has been quite committed to youth development. And so we bring all of those players into the event. So you as a young person, and you don't even have to necessarily only be a young person. Basically, the information is available for how you can better your life as a Nigerian.
Then, for those of you who want to know more, I'm sure you can see Jennifer's social media handle. You can always inbox her and get to find out more. But then, if I need to also talk to Barrister Kelechi on how to help my ministry as a young person, how do we reach you? We should follow the social media handle as well? Or do you have some outreach we can?
Yeah, I'm launching self-mastering program, which I intend to partner with the schools to give back to the society. Because the issue of self-feeling that government should do this, government should do that is overwhelming. And we must find a way to support the government as our social responsibility to help bring up our younger ones and make them know. One of the things I told myself when I was coming up is that I want to be the billionaire that can teach people how I got to where I am, so that if they follow the same route, they'll get to where I am.
That's a good one.
At this point, I think it is time to tell them how we've gotten to where we are and give them the support, the mentorship that they need to help them get to where they want to be. And at the same time, reduce the pressure in our government. I'm not saying that government should not be constructively criticized, but the noise is quite much, and too much pressure and distraction to the government, because anybody that don't have food is Tunumbu. You don't do this, is Tunumbu, and
if your wife does not give birth, it's
you understand, and it's not funny, because you check all our leaders, no one has been good. So
from our perspective.
So from our perspective, none of our leaders, we have everything bad to say about each of our leaders. And I think we can make a change.
That change begins to there, and whatever you do, the two coaches, they've just told you that it hasn't been silver spoon for them, but they've risen above board, and they are still getting even more. They're counting and counting. So it means that if they could, you too can. All it takes is take that first step and tell yourself, yes, I can.
Yes,
we'll see you again. And please attend Jennifer's show, because you will learn.
You will learn a lot.
Bye.
Bye.